Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Without Context podcast. I'm Decavolty, joined by SharkyHat.
Hello, everybody.
Uh, we have a little bit of I have a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. You will be seeing this episode on Saturday. Our editor Shark is going to try something a little new to see if we can't. I don't know, something new. You talk about it. You're the one doing it.
Well, I just want to try a different presentation style instead of just us on the screen. So I'm gonna take an extra day to actually like sit down and go through editing. So hopefully it works out and you guys see a different style of episode when you're watching this instead of just us being, side by side. We are coming up on the 1 year mark, by the way. That is about a month away. So
Hmm.
some presentation style changes are probably due. An opening on these videos and maybe a different art style and presentation style to it. So these are just little tests until we hit that point and until everybody's schedule is figured out, because right now it is still just me and Deca being able to sit and record this. So
And even that's a little questionable sometimes, but
yeah.
as we are recording this a day later than normal, something came up for me yesterday. When we usually record on either Monday or Wednesday, something came up for me on Wednesday. It happens sometimes. I always, you know what it is, because it was just like you. You had a dental appointment. I always underestimate just how long it takes to be at the dentist.
Yeah. And
Um,
today we decided to get it recorded today because also I believe today is the first day of San Diego Comic
San
Con.
Diego Comic Con.
Not
So
a
everything
lot.
lines up.
Yeah, not a lot to my knowledge has been announced. It is like the day one festivities and everything. Nothing major, no, I think, real DC announcements, no real Marvel announcements yet. There's been little things here or there. But today we wanted to talk about the one that I think most of our group is interested in, and that is the live action D&D movie that just had its trailer drop. Probably about an hour before we even started recording this.
Before we start getting into the nitty gritty of the trailer, I just want to say I just saw the trailer like just before we hit record. But also, speaking of D&D, my D&D game has its first episode out on our YouTube. Woo!
Yep, the first episode
Uh,
of called Netherdeep went out on Monday. The second episode is probably going to go up on Monday. And depending on if you guys can get to playing this weekend, we'll have
uh,
episode 3. And just if it's again, as long as schedules work out for everybody. So, but
yeah,
a good response on that video. I think it is probably one of our most viewed videos in recent uploads, and
pretty
a
cool.
nice long episode for you as well if you just want to throw something on and have some background stuff to listen to, because I don't believe there's a lot of visuals, if anything.
There are no visuals.
Yeah,
I
it
have
is
a visual at the
basically
beginning, and then I have a visual at the end, and those are just credits.
yeah, it's basically just a audio podcast
Yeah,
for the
so
first session, but it's definitely something for you all to check out, and I'm very happy that we've gotten the response that we have for it.
hell yeah.
So thank you all
Um,
for that.
and that gives me hope to continue.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. The D&D movie.
Yes.
Um,
So
I
when
yeah.
I just some background, when I first heard that they were making a D&D movie, I was skeptical because the thing that I had still burning in my mind was the D&D movie from the early 2000s. I forget even who was the main character, but I know they had Damon Wayans as like the sidekick, and it was a bunch of like bad CG. And apparently they
So is
made
that the one with Vin Diesel?
no. The Vin
Okay.
Diesel movie was The Last Witch Hunter, which
Okay,
was
that's what I was
based
thinking
on
of.
his D&D character. And they had that crossover with Critical Role. Matt Mercer ran a one shot for
Vin Diesel.
the last Witch Hunter for that promotional.
That's why we
But
got Blood Hunters.
the last D&D movie that widely got released was a bad one back in the early 2000s. And then they made like straight to DVD sequels for it. But this one, watching the trailer for this one, I was pleasantly surprised because it seems like with a lot of fantasy movies, it's hit or miss. They either try to keep it high fantasy, completely serious to itself, or it's a fantasy setting with like a comedic twist. And as I posted in our Discord, I feel like this is to D&D what Taika did to Thor for Thor Ragnarok. where it takes itself just seriously enough to be honest about it while still having fun.
Just seriously enough so that it has a plot, but it's still
Yes.
having fun.
And from what we've seen in the trailer, it looks like there's a lot of iconic D&D concepts being thrown into it. We have the Red Wizards of Thay making an appearance, which I believe were featured heavily in the Tiamat adventure.
Oh, yes, you're right.
And among other things. And then we had the owlbear transformation, and
the druid turns into the owlbear. That's so cool.
And then a displacer beast and a mimic and all that. And the
You're
party
hitting
is
all the marks.
It's like, so we're getting all these iconic things being thrown in, and then you have the casting of Chris Pine as a bard. From what it looks like, you have Michelle Rodriguez as a barbarian, Sophie Lillis from
Sharky special
from It. I'm not sure if she's playing a satyr or a tiefling. She has the horns, but I'm not sure if they're just like kind of taking like a creative approach with how they present tieflings, or if it's something else, but a druid. And a very Keyleth color scheme, by the way, looking at that trailer. And Hugh Grant as the bad guy, apparently, which I think is hilarious.
Hugh Grant. So they showed like there was another, like, not trailer, but there was a siege, like it was kind of a teaser. And what it did is it went through all of the different actors that are playing in the movie, and it shows their classes. I thought that was a really cool touch. Chris Pine's the bard, Michelle Rodriguez is the barbarian, and then they showed Hugh Grant as the rogue. So, and he's flipping a coin evilly. So,
yeah, because I think they mentioned like he's the bad guy in the film, but it's like it's just a weird like casting choice, but it sounds like it's a fun casting choice also.
Oh yeah.
But it's so crazy because like you see a black dragon spewing, the acid breath. It's not a fire breathing dragon, which is cool. And now it's like, okay, there's different types of dragons. And then we have the fat one that shows up. And the absolute unit of a dragon. And I want to know what's going on with that one, because he's so large.
He's friend-shaped.
He is friend-shaped. And watching the trailer, though, I do get a lot of like Thor Ragnarok vibes and Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. And I think
it's not the hero's quest, right? It's just a bunch of thieves that get together on a quest.
The trailer opens up, I believe, is like they got the treasure, but they gave it to the bad guy, not knowing they're the bad guy. So now it's like, shit, we have to get it back. But I saw it on Twitter, and I kind of agree with the sentiment. I hope this lands more like a Guardians of the Galaxy and not like a Suicide Squad. Like, those are like the two ends of the spectrum of, I guess, like how genuine they try to be for what the subject matter is. But I'm kind of excited for it. I mean, this hobby of ours, like we love playing this game and everything. So seeing this with what looks like a lot of care being thrown in is kind of refreshing to see. What were your thoughts after watching the trailer?
Yeah, I fucking love that owlbear and the chunky dragon.
It looks good.
It looks interesting. I'm a fan.
Like the actual like CG for the monsters and like the looks of the monsters look very, very good. And very like accurate to everything. Like you could clearly tell what was what. Watch even the mimic, like when its mouth opened, like it. Like even the box like bent, like had arches to show like the actual opening. And just, man, I'm pleasantly surprised. It just seems like every time we get like a licensed movie like this, they do something to screw it up. Yeah. But
what was the last licensed movie that we had that wasn't that was endemic, like a Thor or something? What was the last licensed movie that we had that like was any good? Like,
so the stuff that I can think of, like in terms of licensed movies, were like the G.I. Joe movies, the Transformers movies, Battleship, which is a hilarious movie because is genuinely fun to watch, but the way that they present the actual, like, we're gonna play Battleship in the movie is so fucking absurd. I was like, you didn't have to
Didn't
do
that one have
this.
Rihanna or something?
Yes, it had Rihanna. And and we get like adaptations all the time of like books and stuff. So it's just seeing this one just kind of, I guess, take place in the Forgotten Realms for what it looks like. It looks like it's Waterdeep. And I mean,
Waterdeep-esque, yeah.
the Red Wizards of Thay kind of point out that, like, Thay's in the setting, so whichever setting that one has, because I don't really follow official D&D like settings.
It's also Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, so it's Forgotten Realms, so they're sticking with what they're familiar with.
I wonder if Ed Greenwood must be getting like just fat stacks of cash for because he created the Forgotten Realms, and he's a fantastic bastard.
Ed Greenwood made one world and has just made money off of that for 30 years. This is what the first one was, like the 80s or something. The first Forgotten Realms stuff, maybe early 90s. But I'm excited, and this is also, I think, coming out about the same time as the Lord of the Rings TV show and all this other stuff. So I'm really happy we're seeing this like resurgence of fantasy that's actually like kind of being respectful to the genre, but also having fun with it in a way.
Oh yeah, they put black people in the Lord of the Rings, and people are losing their goddamn minds.
Good.
Good. I'm looking at you, person who's going to comment about it. Good.
I know most of the cast for the party in the D&D movie. I know Justice Smith, he was the main kid in Detective Pikachu. Chris Pine, the Star Trek movies, Michelle Rodriguez, everything on the fucking planet, it feels like.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, the first Resident Evil.
I remember. Yeah.
Sophie Lillis, who's even at her age is starting to be like in everything. I don't know the guy who's the paladin though. Like, I haven't seen him in everything. That name doesn't stick out to me. Gene something.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that person either.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him, but his character looks great. Like the paladin aesthetic that they're giving him. It's not like the tanky armor, but it's still like armor enough. You have the symbol like on his chest, and he's just smiting things.
I like where it's like, I make the plans. Well, if the existing plan fails, you're planning to make you're planning failed plans. He also plays the lute. That's not relevant, and then it just cuts to him playing the lute.
He like does a skip like into the city gate, but like that feels like it's the perfect role for Chris Pine, because people forget that he can be funny. Like, he can be a very comedic actor, but yeah, it's like just like the little, like some of the little things too. Like in one shot of the trailer, you can see one of, I guess, the Red Wizards or a minion of them. They have a green flame blade going, so it's like the spells are there too. Yeah, and it's these like little things, and I'm like, okay, we're actually getting some variety. And
there's a fireball that comes out, and they like do something to resist it.
And it's like 9 months from now, so I mean, it's actually pretty close. Coming out, which is great. But yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait to see what else comes out of San Diego Comic-Con. I know we're going to get probably the next few Marvel movie announcements, and then here's our timeline of the next few years and
next phase. Yeah,
I think, if I remember correctly, I think DC had something with Henry Cavill announcing like Superman or Man of Steel 2, like finally being announced, but it's not the Snyderverse one. It's a sequel to the Josh Whedon version of Justice League. So it's like, okay, Snyderverse.
Josh Whedon one is canon.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's just Snyderverse doesn't exist.
Good.
A bunch of other things. So I mean, I think it's like a week-long thing. So we probably have a lot more to talk about next week too, but I don't know what
I think we'll have significantly more to talk about when we get closer to that point.
Oh, definitely. Kind of transitioning there, because you can only talk so much about a trailer. Let's move on to your game. How did you feel like getting that finally uploaded? And like this is the first time I think for this group that you've had stuff being uploaded before, but like this is the first like our channel, like our friends, like a close circle just hears the first video of yourself DMing a module.
So it's funny because like on this first this first session, I kind of just said hello, whatever, and I like got right into it. On this next session that's going to be recorded, you actually hear where I'm like, oh yeah, I have to fucking introduce everybody because it's going on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I go back to my, hello, welcome to this channel. This is called Netherdeep and whatever. And then Duck makes the joke, co-host Duck makes the joke of like, oh yeah, I'm here. I'm like, you're coming back on the podcast, boy. He's like, no, which I
But
thought was hilarious.
how was it DMing for the experienced players that you played with over the last like few
Oh yeah.
years as a player, and then like DMing the people that their play styles because you were playing alongside them
Oh
to
yeah.
also having a completely new player come in as their like first adventure.
I like to think of it as the players. Because I'll say this all the time. I specifically picked this table. I have AnxietyLasagna. I've got Nightstar. I've got I forget this person's username off the top of my head.
You got Duck. You
I've
got
got Echo.
yeah,
Doug. I've got Miss Sugar Pop is the one I was thinking of.
yeah. You got Erica.
I specifically picked this table because I knew this person was brand new and I wanted to have a support system around her.
Yeah.
And I think as of we've done 2 sessions so far. I'm going to be editing the second one tomorrow. I think I've got it pretty good because I guess I could say this. The newer player, like, it's that new person syndrome where they're like, am I supposed to be here? But I'm like,
Yeah.
no. You're absolutely supposed to be here. You belong here. We want you to be here. We love you. This is great. You're doing amazing.
They'll have that
Um,
point of a new player where they'll do something and it'll click.
mhm. And we're gonna wait for that moment. But I think as far as me, like you mentioned, I've played with some of these players for like half the time I've been playing D&D at
Yeah.
this point, which is fucking bonkers to think about. So I've been playing D&D. I thought it was like 5 years, but I'm actually at like 4-ish at this point.
Yeah. Most of
A
it has
little over
been
4.
most of a lot of your 5U has been like through me DMing uh
Yeah.
for these last campaigns and the one previously that didn't finish.
Yeah.
So now it's
Uh,
like as a from a player perspective, from the players, have you noticed anything? It's like now they're playing the Deca DM style as opposed to they've been playing the Sharky DM style.
um, I think our styles are largely similar, to be honest. I think I am more likely to say yes, but to things like yes and to do a lot of things, but also yes, but. Um, and I think you're more likely to just like be like, this is what this character has been like working towards, so I'm going to give them something to go towards that. And I think that's kind of where we differ a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just little mechanics rules here and there, and that's it.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a little sheet of the stuff that I do differently if people need a reference.
Yeah, and this is not me saying my style is better or Sharky's style is better, but I have seen them because I think the thing we mostly have in common between the two of us is that we allow our players to just go out there and role play as long as they want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's harder for you, to be honest, because you have like a very strict timetable you have to keep. So you have a channel for it, and I have a channel for it too. But I'm mostly going to be using that channel for when Haley can't make a session. So I'll have something in there for what her character was doing in the meantime.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I'm going to use it for, or if someone else is missing, stuff like that. So I think I honestly think going into this, they are on chapter 2 now of the adventure. They just leveled up. I think this is where we're going to start to see like okay, these are how these characters are gonna grow, because there's going to be a ton of opportunities for them to role play. There's going to be a ton of opportunities for them to see weird shit at night. The other rivals are still out there doing stuff. It's exciting. It's exciting for me because the first chapter is kind of like in one little town, and they're going and doing different like events, like carnival style events, like
Yeah.
riddles and like pie eatings and stuff like that. And then at the end of it, they have a race to get to a jewel, and when they reach it, it's attached to a shark that has a spear stuck in it. Spoilers for the first chapter of Call of the Netherdeep, I guess.
Well, if people are watching it, they're gonna be
Yeah.
spoiled about it anyway. So
Yep. And so when that creature dies, what happens is in its death throes, it like shakes and rattles and hits a column, and that column expels a bunch of light, and that opens up the path to where they were trying to go. And you'll see the combat when I upload this on Monday. But what happens is Duck is trying to like open that area that they saw, and I was like, well, that's not. I mean, in my head, I'm like, that's not really gonna work. But I'm gonna let him try, because if he can roll good enough, it's the Dale Gribble. I'm skeptical that you could, but intrigued that you may.
I'm skeptical that you could, yet intrigued that you may.
Uh-huh. So I would have started making it so that, yeah, on like the next turn after the check he had, that so he did it one turn, and then the next turn he was like, hey, I'm still trying to do this. I was like, all right, give me a check. And I was like, all right, cool. You're not really having a lot of luck because it's like solidly there and it's like dug into the sand. He's like, all right, well, my character's smart enough. He would like start, undoing getting the sand, or burrowing it, or whatever the case may be. I was like, all right, cool. That may change things if we get to that next turn. But they had killed the shark before they got to that turn, so no harm, no foul.
Fair enough.
I like to reward creativity, and one of the things such as that, I would be like, all right, well, I guess you fucking get away from the shark.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been funny, because the hole is big enough for them, but famously sharks can't breathe in the air. So
So you take them out of the water. You take them out of the water, and there's just.
just
Yeah, just it sounds like it's a fun adventure. Like, I'd gotten the book, I'd looked through it a bit, looked at the rival tiers and what the general premise of it was, because I was just kind of curious. I buy all the campaign books. I mean, even right here next to me, I have Radiant Citadel like sitting right here that I've just started reading through, with a gorgeous cover, by the way. And I think my local game store is just going to be ordering the hobby covers for any of the books here on out. So
it's really cool.
It's a very cool,
even that little glow that it had.
Yeah, it's just a very good. Yeah, because it actually does have like a metallic sheen, like inside the actual like cover. But
super cool.
It's cool. It's a cool concept. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading through that and kind of seeing what they do with like the lost civilizations and all that other stuff. But but yeah, I'm impressed. Like, I don't know how far people actually like watch into the episodes, but just the response that we've gotten, the likes on the video and stuff like that. A lot of people seem to be enjoying the content. So I guess how's it feel to have like some kind of like validation that the effort is being rewarded?
Digging to the internet.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I've loaded this thing. It's just an audio D&D game, but it's still getting this kind of like reaction from people.
So when I did that, I had it like, I figured out what was going on. I had it uploaded by like Sunday, like during the day, and I had it scheduled for that Monday, and I was like, well, here it is.
Yeah, and
it's those jitters of like, well, I don't know how people are going to take this, but okay.
Yeah, and in that process, you learning Adobe and Premiere and all that other stuff.
I'm literally teaching myself Premiere for this. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went through and you made like a full opening for it. You've got your own music. You listed the players. Just kind of here we go,
Mhm.
and it just like drops into a static image of Jigao.
Yep.
Just from there, the adventure begins. And what
I
is this?
think
3 to 15? It's a 3 to 15, right?
it's in that ballpark around. I think they
Yeah,
end around 13ish,
yeah.
13ish, 15ish around there.
Still a pretty decent length
Um,
adventure. So
yeah. I want to what like the only thing I really want that's money is currently prohibiting is getting art of the character so that I can have it like on a cycle.
yeah,
So it's not just like a static image. You just like have a map, or even if I learn to, because we're on Discord anyway. If I learn to like map the image of who's talking to the person.
yeah. You can there are things that you can find. You can find like reactive Discord images and set that
Hmm.
up in like OBS to record. And it's just kind of everybody has to make one and give you like their custom link, but it'll do
Hmm.
like a bounce animation for whoever's talking or an image
Hmm.
change so you can get what you need to for it.
Yeah, that's like the goal for like far and away when I can come into a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I think what I've got is what I've got. I'll keep it rolling.
I mean, it's
Uh,
decent content. I mean, it's a 3 hour session each week, give or take.
mhm.
So it'll definitely be
And
a
it
definitely be something.
so our goals originally were to like have stuff for people to like take on like the drive to work, or the drive during the weekend, the drives in the weekend that people make when they leave or whatever. I think we're accomplishing that goal between this campaign and our mostly weekly podcast.
Yeah, the 45 minute to hour long podcast that we do, and then now a 3 hour D&D. And if anybody else in this group starts to make something and wants to upload it, there's more stuff that can come up to it. Um, I think we mentioned it, or I think I'm remembering me trying to record a video last night and just kind of muddling my memory. But this is kind of the
Hmm.
first step of us turning this less of just a strict podcast to just more of a variety channel.
Hmm.
um, for us, like as a collective, because a lot of us have our own YouTube channels or our own streams that they play on. I know Haley has her channel with like the book reviews and stuff like that, and then you have mine with the gameplay. So this is kind of like that unified variety channel where we can just upload stuff for this group.
And you'll see as in my videos where I'll have the descriptions of the players that I play with, not the co-hosts, because
Yeah,
there are co-hosts in the ship in the game, but I have different people, so I have to plug different people. You know what I mean?
yeah. So a lot of the first of, I guess, different videos that will begin
Mhm.
coming up. D&D campaigns, the podcast, and whatever else people decide to upload. But we are getting to that point where it is time to, I guess, change up some things here and start throwing out some new stuff for people.
Diversify.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the channel itself, it's just basic black background and then the name and a very plain, podcast thumbnail
Mhm.
style. So I'm trying to liven that up a bit more as well.
Speaking of that, I want to shout out Sharky for the wonderful thumbnail on that he did for my game, and you'll see it if when you're done with this video, of course. Go take a look at that one and just look at the thumbnail for a sec. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's just, taking existing or finding, a D&D font on something to add into my Photoshop and just finding a way to make this thumbnail actually like pop out. It was pretty fun to kind of experiment with like the color scheme that the art had in a way. So
Mm. So I picked purpley colors because it kind of it it goes with that artwork pretty well.
yeah, it's just like with no context, just texting you. It's like pick a color. It's just So I picked like purple, and I was like, "You got it."
Purple.
And then it's that, but yeah, can't wait to see episode 2 come up. Can't wait to see what everybody else thinks about that, and see if we can get the same response that we did on the first one. I know people probably in these days would prefer like a live stream where you can see the people if they do watch actual plays, like seeing the people, seeing the table, seeing the battle map. But I know that there are people that just enjoy listening to stuff as like a podcast. I mean, that's how I got through the first campaign of Critical Role, is I just listened to it on Spotify. At work. I didn't, because to me that's watching it and listening to it aren't that different. Like just watching it, I'm still just seeing people talk most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we can pleasure the ear holes a bit with our variety of content.
I hate that. I hate that you said that.
I know. We're gonna.
What about?
It's like I don't know when we're gonna get Haley back. That's the issue. Or
We almost had her yesterday.
We almost did, and I know that she's stressing out because she's in very important positions at work. But we hope to have her back soon. And
it's not never; it's just at some point.
At some point, and Charlie and Duck just kind of drop in when they want to. So, let's see.
I was gonna laugh if I saw Duck go like online at when you said that. And I was like, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Duck just pops in like, "Hey guys."
Have to make me change the overlay here, or at least if I had the overlay image going, some behind the scenes stuff that I'm doing right now. But
I think at some point, what I'd like to do, as far as like content here for the podcast, is actually bring that new person in, and just kind of not grill her, but like ask a few questions about, hey, how's your
player
first
interrogation?
The new player interrogation.
Are you having fun yet?
Are you having fun?
Oh, that's right. It's been looking like it was going to thunderstorm all day today. It's finally started to rain. So, but on to more. I guess it's just another D&D episode.
Turn to me.
In terms of me, I hope that starting next month, in terms of like a monthly release, you'll start seeing some homebrew content from this group being released. We've already gone through and made our first fully custom subclass, which I'm still going through the process of figuring out how to like word the abilities correctly. But we've created our first fully customed subclass, and I created a race in the recent days for a contest. So hopefully when the contest is judged, I'm going to be watching it on the live stream tomorrow when they do it. So any feedback I get, I can bring into it. But yeah, we're going to start making actual stuff, like not just podcast stuff. We're actually going to start making stuff for the D&D tabletop community. And I'm pretty excited about that because I have a lot more free time now since I'm not DMing a campaign currently. So I get to.
I guess I had one more. I guess I had one more thing relating to that, actually.
Sure.
Some things you'll see in my version of Call of the Netherdeep are actually homebrewed. Either I went to the subreddit and the only Reddit I've ever enjoyed, and just kind of looked through stuff and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna take that.
Oh, dude, my Reddit thing is like D&D, Unearthed Arcana, 3D6, Ravenloft, D&D homebrew. It's like just a bunch of D&D channels.
It's like, I think Call of the Netherdeep is truly the only one I've really enjoyed, besides like r/battle maps or whatever it's called.
Yeah. People make some really good resources.
Yeah, and that's mostly what I'm getting at, is that I have a bunch of resources that I take from like Reddit and other places, and you'll see some of that pop up in the game. So it won't necessarily be a one-to-one translation. In fact, I have my own. I have 6 people in my party, so I have 6 people in the rival party because the book says to make sure your rivals and the player characters match.
Yeah.
So I have Recovery, the Tiefling.
Yeah, you've created a custom NPC.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just hopefully more stuff from us just for the tabletop community in the coming months.
Mm-hmm.
the plan that I set for myself is each month to make a subclass, to make a race, to make a few magic items and a few spells, and then just release like a PDF. So it's gonna
Kind
be
of want to do something similar, but I think
all
my spells are too busy to release publicly.
yeah, all those things. If I decide to put them onto like a paid site, all that money will go to improving this podcast in some way.
Yeah,
So pay guests for their time.
that would be nice.
Yeah, but we have some pretty
Those.
cool guests that, with the proper notification and time, can just pop in, which is cool.
Yeah, I like that.
But
I can just like I don't. I hate to be that person who just name drops. But I like that it's really cool that I could be just like, hey Pierre, what do you think about this? And just like get an honest opinion from him.
yeah, I mean, that was the thing. I messaged him with Discord. I was like, hey, I want to get eyes that weren't on the development of this class onto it. So can you take a look at this and tell me what you think? And the first thing out of his mouth was the same thing that came out of your guys' mouth of, this feels like it should be a monk class. And I'm like, it's a fighter subclass.
Everyone in every DM in their 30s has the same brain cell.
Yeah. It's just kind of cycling through.
It's like with the screensaver. Doop, doop.
Yeah. Well, I really don't have much else to talk about today. It's kind of an impromptu episode.
Yeah. Like we wanted to get some content out, and like I said, we kind of I got a little sidetracked yesterday with the dentist. But we still wanted to get something out for you guys. And what better way than to have our initial takes about the D&D movie, and then segue into our own D&D announcements.
Yeah, and hopefully hopefully we can get somebody back this week. Haley, Charlie, Deca, Duck, Alvin, just one of the usual hosts. And if we can't, hopefully now we have more time to see if we can get a guest onto the show if we need it.
Mhm.
But it has been kind of playing it by ear these last few weeks, which is why I think we missed one episode, and then we just had these kind of update episodes come out. But
I think if one of the other players is willing, I think getting an episode of just one of the other players and just being like, "Hey, what'd you think about that session?"
yeah,
That might be fun. I don't want to transition completely into like Talks Machina or whatever, but
yeah, and
talking back about the session's still
I
fun.
mean, hey, we got a whole weekend of Comic-Con coming up, so another guest, if we
Plenty
can
of
get
content.
somebody, we'll be able to talk about, everything that's come out of it and what people are hyped for and what people were legitimately like surprised about being announced, stuff like that. Like I think one of the things was like God of War was just like dropped. It's like, hey, it comes out November 7th. Like no fanfare, just a tweet. It's like I think the trailer dropped and the tweet came out. And it's like pick it up November 7th, and I was like, I guess that's the release date. Like no fanfare after months. So,
I think so is that the game, or is that like a movie adaptation?
God of War is the game. Ragnarok.
Okay, so Ragnarok. Okay, I think the people who were excited for that were just gonna be excited for it regardless.
Yeah, but
So
it's just
I think just tweeting it out is fine.
yeah, I don't think like because I don't think there was like a show, like a game awards show or something where they could have announced it, unless Comic-Con started yesterday. And it was like
Traditionally, with conventions, they have like a day zero situation, so maybe.
Yeah, it could have dropped yesterday. I've only started seeing posts about it today, so it might have been earlier today, but it was just like, hey, November 7th. So I was like, I guess that's the God of War Ragnarok release day. Like, just here we go. But I don't know. I don't play my PS4 often, and I haven't even bothered buying a PS5. So
Oh, I guess kind of unrelated completely to D&D, but like I've been picking up. I've been playing a lot of the new Pokemon Snap, and I say new, but it's been out for maybe a year at this point.
yeah,
For the Switch, I'm falling back in love with photography. It is great. It is
Well,
fucking magnificent.
I like how it took them so long to come out with a new Pokemon Snap, and everybody's like, "We want a Pokemon Snap." It's like,
Which, granted,
it's like I don't know what people want. People want Pokemon Snap. That's what we want. And they're like, "All right, here you go." And it's like, "Oh shit, that's selling." It's like,
oh no, capitalism demands we make another one. what I did is I played the original one first, like just a little bit. I didn't go through all of it. Played enough of it to, and then while the new one was downloading, and then I played the new one, and I was like, all right, I have a pretty cool fresh comparison.
Yeah.
I wonder. So I really like it. I like the controls. The game, the original Nintendo 64 game, holds up very well. But the new one, there's billions more Pokemon at this point, so it's easier to snap different Pokemon in different environments. But also just looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder
somehow
if SDCC is going to have Violet news, because there's already leaks coming out, so I think someone's going to drop an announcement soon.
Maybe. I don't think Nintendo really does a lot of their stuff though at outside conventions. Like I think they usually save it for like a Nintendo Direct announcement.
That's fair.
Like they'll probably put out an announcement. It's like, hey, this Friday we have a Nintendo Direct coming, and then it's like that Nintendo Direct is like, here's literally everything about Pokemon Violet and Scarlet.
Well, so they would strategically they would pick it. They would pick a day sometime during SDCC to like, because people are already hyped for like news and stuff. So they'll pick a day and be like, Pokemon Direct, Violet and Scarlet, Pokemon Spain, let's go.
Pokemon Spain, Caveman Professor, Cyberpunk Professor, Chili Alligator.
Chili Alligator.
Hey man, as long as we keep getting alligator Pokemon, I'm happy, because my favorite's Totodile. So.
Yeah.
Just keep giving me the elemental alligators, and I will collect them.
I will collect them, and soon I'll have my own team that can take on the Elite Four.
Just the alligators. I am Florida Man. Florida Man the trainer. Florida Man the trainer just has 6 different alligator Pokemon. But I guess we can call it here for this episode. Just kind of a general talk about some things, some more updates on what to expect from the channel and from us as a collective. And yeah, I guess that will be it. And hopefully we can get a guest on, or one of our usual hosts back next week. And if it's a guest, we'll bring back somebody that everybody seems to enjoy. So
yeah.
But as always, I'm SharkyHat. This is Decavolty. It's been the Without Context podcast. I guess we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.